In our Diné tribe, Navajo, it's maternal,
Okay.
obviously. So a lot of the things that are decided and such. I mean, let's face it. Generally, overall, mothers are the ones that are cooks and such.
Okay.
So they're the ones that figure out what their family's going to eat and etc.
Well, for me, something that I've learned early on, and I understand that it's kind of become a part of who I am and how I interact with people, is that, and I never really realized this until I got older, but I come from a matriarchal society that where women, had a lot of say and how to raise children and all of those things. And so subconsciously, I never really thought much about it and how it impacted me. And I see how it plays in my life even today when I interact with other individuals, mainly females. And so it does impact me in a sense that I first listen and then I'll respond, So I don't interject. I don't, I try to show that respect head on. And so I think that for me, that's how gender plays a role.
I think, well, I believe that coming from a single mom household, my mom had to make the best of what she had with her income. So it comes from, in my case, it was my mother.
When I was adopted by my native family, that delineation between male and female in terms of, I don't want to say power in the home, that doesn't seem like the right term.
Just responsibilities.
Was very different. I mean, like my brother inherits his band affiliation from his mother. So he's on Compagre, but his father's White River. But, and he might have a different experience, but in my experience, there was a real equality in that house. There was no mother or father that was in control. They seemed to do things very equally, and there were things that they talked about, and it was not like one was telling you what to do, the other was listening. It was very equal.
What I see now as far as like gender differences between men and women is that I think the women have a lot more anxiety about health, more worry about health, and that the men don't appear, even though they probably do, don't appear to worry as much about their health or think that there's that much that they can do. I work on a team that deals with managing chronic diseases, so diabetes, high blood pressure, but I see anybody that comes in and wants to talk to me. And so for people that have diabetes in particular, there's a lot of concern from the women about what can I do, worry about what's going to happen. When you talk with the men, there's a lot more kind of this idea that there's not a lot that they can change about their health, which is very interesting to me. Mm-hmm. That it just happens, and it may just be that change is really hard and I don't know how I'm going to make these big lifestyle changes. It may be that they just accept that this is what's happened because diabetes is so rampant in our community that it's inevitable that you're going to get diabetes, and they've seen the way that people have dealt with it in the past. It's kind of hard to get into what that is.
I know that some men know that they could take much better care of themselves, and they just don't make the effort.
And why? Why do you think that is?
Well, it's like some people feel, hey, this is my fate. This is what's supposed to happen, and so.
So some it's fate.
I think some of it also deals just with their own mental state. I mean, if they feel like they're, I remember a story where my wife and I drove up to an alcohol party. It was at her brother's house, and we walked in, and she was upset that there was children around and drinking happening everywhere, and so she got upset and chased everyone home, and people were upset at her and yelling back at her. And I just remember one adult, walked by where we're standing. He said, they're just going to grow up and drink anyway, And so that was his mentality.
It's an
and so
example.
and so I think in a lot of ways that's how we think. We know that there is resources out there to help us, But until we actually get to a point maybe where the warning signs are there, then we finally maybe take an active role in that.